Okay, so today we have our second lecture in this pre-dental month lecture series, and we have two guest speakers talking about the PPID admissions. And for those of you who don't know about this program, it's for dentists who have obtained their degree internationally and they want to practice in the US. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest speakers today, Masuma and Urvashi.
Hi.
Hello.
So
Go
let's
on.
move forward. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay. So this is me. I really like that picture. So thank you, Elizabeth, for the photo. I went to dental school back in Pakistan. I graduated in 2016, and the very next month I moved to California. I just moved here, so I like to say that I'm from here when people ask me about it. Um, I started applying once I was done with my part one and part two, which I finished in 2017. And alongside that, I started working as a dental assistant and started shadowing different dentists. And I got into school after two cycles. The first cycle, I applied just with part one. Back then, UCLA's requirements were only NBD part one. So I applied with that, got an interview, but I did not make the cut. So it's fine if it's not your first cycle and you do not get in. It's fine. Whenever your time is right, you're going to get it. Moving on to Urvashi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Urvashi, and I am Masuma's colleague here as a D4 as part of the PPID program. I graduated from Nair Hospital in Mumbai, India in 2017. So in the year of 2017, I took my NBD Part 1, Part 2, and my TOEFL, following which I started my fellowship in New Jersey at the Rutgers School of Dental Medicine in periodontics and restorative dentistry. That was the year that I was applying to dental schools. And I was fortunate to make it to UCLA in my first cycle. And I started with my PPID program in 2019 and hope to graduate in 20.
So Adia Capid, you all must have heard what Capid application is. It is like a portal, online portal where you make your application, you upload all of your information, all of your stats in regards to your grades, your transcripts, where you went to school, your letters of evaluation, your test scores, every single thing goes in there. And then you select all the schools and then you fulfill each of the requirements. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to send you this PowerPoint presentation, but if you search a DI Capit application guide, it's a very helpful guide. You can go and there's this checklist that you can go through and actually follow when you are filling out your Adia Capit portal. So from one dental school to the next, you get your dental degree, first steps done. When you get your transcripts for Adia Capid, it's always a good idea to get multiple copies and get them attested and sealed in university envelope, especially for this time when for COVID, there are so many uncertainties when things are shut down, when things are opened back up. So if you are in your home country right now, get this done. Then in US, you have to get your degree and your transcripts evaluated through ECE to get them like equated to US standards. Then comes to your standardized testing, which includes INBDE, TOEFL, and ADAT. I'm not sure if some of you have already taken your part one and now preparing for part two. If you have not started, beginning of this year, you're going to be eligible for INBDE, which is an integrated NBDE 1 and 2, all in one exam. TOEFL is an English listening, speaking, writing test, and ADAT is advanced dental admission test. I personally have not taken the test, so I'm not really sure, but it's a scored test, so it has a lot of weightage. And there are some schools which highly prefer it, including University of Michigan. The last but not the least, I would emphasize a lot on your personal statement, which is also called SOP, and your resume. Moving on, these are the required things that you need to do. Moving on. This is a Dia Capit looks like. Personal information, it is just basic information about you, where you're from, what's your visa status is in the US, all that kind of stuff. Academic history, you just put in all your schools, the years that you graduated, all the programs that you've done. Supporting information is where the most of the important things go. We'll go into details for that. And then program materials are all the different requirements that every school has their own requirements. So you apply to program, and then the requirements open up as you're filling out your application. So supporting information has your evaluations, which are your letters of recommendation, all of your experiences, dental related, non-dental related, that you want to make a part of your application. Then comes your achievements. In achievements, you put in all the awards, all the honors that you get during your dental school. Licenses, of course, we're all practicing dentists somewhere in this world, so you can put in your licenses. Other relevant information is something that you did not think that fit in either of the categories. You can put in other relevant information. Personal statement. For personal statement on Adia Capit, you have a 5,200 characters limit. So it's like a Word document of 1 page with font 12. So keep that in mind. And then documents include your CV, your test scores, your ECE evaluations, anything that mm, anything that's like in paper, you gotta like send it to them or like scan it and upload it. Evaluation requests, so letters of recommendation that you're going to be getting for your Dia Capit is going to be in an online form type of a format, where you fill in the information of all of your evaluators, and a Dia Capit sends the request to your evaluators, and they on their end are going to upload your letter that they've prepared for you. So make sure that you talk to them beforehand, let them know how the process goes, because most of the time they don't know how it is. And they would just hand you the letter and be like, here's your letter. That's not how it works though. So what evaluations are you gonna need? You're gonna need one from the dean of your dental college and one from the faculty of your dental college. So these are mandatory letters that you are going to get from your dental school. The third one is on your choice, and it is recommended that you get a letter from a dentist who's practicing in the US. I heard when I was applying that if you are affiliated to any of the dental school, try and get a letter from a professor in that school. It is highly ranked, and it's considered to be a very nice letter if it's coming from a faculty member of any of the US dental schools. They should be on official letterhead, signed, dated, and officially sealed. It should be dated because your evaluation letters are only valid for 2 years. And it's always a good idea to have a very recent one. It's going to get uploaded directly to Capit by the evaluators. Also, keep the sealed hard copies of your letters. You're going to need it later. So some of the schools are going to have you prepare a supplemental application in which you're going to have to send these hard copies of the letter. Okay, SOP. This is something that shows you as a person on the paper. It should not have your CV written down in words. It should tell what characteristics or what qualities do you have in yourself which make you a very good candidate to apply for the dental program. As you're aware, there are thousands of people applying to this program, and the people who are selecting you needs to know who are you as a person that makes you a good fit for their school. So it should have introduction, this is not self-introduction, but like an introduction of how you got into dentistry, what makes you, what made you choose dentistry as your career. Then your academic information from school or any other like dental program, or if you went for an MPH or an MBA, you can include that. Why this course? So why are you applying to dental schools in the US? So you can explain the skills that you would enhance during the course. For example, you are not so good at something, for example, a crown preparation or patient management, anything. So you can tell them that you have an urge to learn more. Then your careers, your goals, a little bit about what do you want to be in next 5 years or 10 years. Then why this university? So just keep this like a general idea, because your SOP is going to go from CAPID to each of the schools. So you cannot like name a specific school. But if you are affiliated to UCSF or UOP or UCLA, if you have been connected to them, you can obviously give examples of your experiences in that school. Concluding, you're going to have to sum up everything that you've written, and do not write anything about financial assistantship. Of course, you cannot bring in the fact that, oh, I want to be a dentist in the US because I'm going to make a lot of money. Don't put that, please. It's just that you have to show them the person that you are and why do you want to get into the program. Your SOP is not your CV. NBDE exam. So all in all, it's the review of everything that we've learned in dental school. In our times, NBD 1 and 2 were mostly dental anatomy, physiology, general anatomy, biochemistry, and all the other clinical parts of dentistry were part of NBDE 2. But I'm assuming that they're going to be all in one. And these are the sources that we used in our time. And I'm pretty sure that once INBDE resources get out, you should stay connected to the people who are taking the exam, and also the Facebook groups. The Facebook groups are the ultimate source of information. People put in the updated information and it can help you a lot. If any one of you has taken NBDE 1 and now preparing for NBDE 2, you should be aware of dental decks, Mosby's, first aid. These are all very good sources of information for you to study, like guides. For NBDE Part 2, I really want to emphasize on Mental Dental channel on YouTube. A lot of my classmates are taking NBDE Part 2 right now, the traditional DDS students, and all of them are just sticking to Mental Dental. I've heard they have videos and they are a very good guide for your preparation for NBDE Part 2. How long? It depends on how fast you can grasp and how strong is your background knowledge. I know some people graduate like 5 years ago or 6 years ago. So then the theoretical information in their heads is a little bit different. So grasping on to the concepts again is a little bit harder. Um, Even for me, I was a fresh grad, but still I took time to relearn those concepts in a way that I was supposed to be judged on. So it totally depends on you how fast you do. I know people who took their part 1 and part 2 in 4 months, whereas I took my time and studied for about 5, 6 months each for each of my exams. Tips to study for NBDE. Start with easy subjects and get those out of the way. Don't acquire too many resources. Of course, just stick to something that interests you more. Again, Facebook pages are a good guide for you to know what good study material is. Try to get most updated study material. Again, I'm going to tell you, Facebook pages have all of it. Talk to people who have taken the exam, and as it gets closer to the test day, take practice exams. So one tip that I would give that I did was I used to solve exam questions on Dental Board Mastery app. I think that's what it's called. Every single day. And then if I used to get them wrong, I would search, I would look for the right answer. Why did I get it wrong? I would review the topic. So stay in touch with solving the questions. Again, INBDE, I'm assuming it's a whole integrated NBDE 1 and 2 exam. I am not aware of anybody who has taken it just yet, but I'm pretty sure that on ADA website, you're going to get some information. TOEFL exam. Some of us would think that, oh, okay, so my English is perfect, so I'm going to score 100% on TOEFL, which is not right. So it is very textbook worth English. Like they're judging you if you're going to be a good fit for a school in the US. So gather your information, know what they're going to ask you on the exam, and then organize your schedule, review grammar rules. It is important. Look over pre-course material. So the material that I used was this book called Princeton Review. I did not go through the whole book, but I practiced the exams. They have practice exams in the book, so I used that. On TOEFL website, they have some practice exams, so I used that. Also, a YouTube channel called Noteful Mastery has a lot of good tips, especially for the speaking section. So I use those. So it's good. It's not as bad as an INBDE or any of the other board exams that we take, but don't take it too lightly because schools here do consider your scores on TOEFL. Aim higher than minimum requirement. Most of the schools would tell you, yeah, 80 is good or 75 is okay, but aim for more than 100, and recommended is always more than 110. I myself took TOEFL exam 3 times because I wanted to get above 110. So these are the minimum requirements of TOEFL by section that are required at UCLA. As you can see, all of these are in 20s, and listening, you can just be around 17. That's fine. But it's a pretty high score if you calculate it. You can take it again, you can update, cap it, even after you have submitted your application. So that's not a big deal. CV. So UOP sends out this CV template, and I think that it's a good template as one of the dental schools in the US is sending it out. The similar kind of format was sent to me from Las Vegas as well, from University of Nevada. So I stuck to this format of the CV, and then I just kept it and I'm using it until today. So it's a good template. Try and stay organized. They do not want to read 5 pages worth of CVs. So sticking to this template helps you put in all the information that you need to, and it's like concise and 2 pages, maximum 3 pages. Do not exceed your CV more than 3 pages. Tips for a better CV. So GPA, TOEFL scores, INBDE or NBDE exam. You can put it there, it's not mandatory. Then CE courses. I know that a lot of us take CE courses, and these days where everything's online, we're taking CE courses all the time. It's better to put in total number of hours that you've done for CE, not really explaining each of the course that you've done. Other than that, preceptorship or any other courses like fellowship that she mentioned, you should put that. Present the papers that you presented, like your research background, do mention that. Involve yourself with research and try to publish your research in a reputed journal. A dental school can only help you with that. If any one of you have published it, you must know that you have to be affiliated to a school because schools get the grants for it. Then highlight your points. So on CV, try to put everything that you have. Don't think of something that, oh, I don't think that's important, and just skip it. Don't do it. Just put everything in. You're here to sell yourself. Then list everything in chronological order. If you're going to follow the template that I just mentioned from UOP, it is in chronological order. So do not hesitate to withhold certain achievements and include a picture of yourself. It's a good idea to put like a picture, so if someone's reading your CV, they can put a face to whatever that they're reading on a piece of paper. All right, Urvashi, do you want to take over?
Yeah. So I know all of you guys are concerned about various like GPA questions. I already see some pouring into the chat. So in general, a GPA above 3.0 is considered reasonable to be able to apply like for any of the advanced standing programs. And below 3, what they usually recommend, or what we heard when we were applying, was to always go in for either like a master's, be it a master's in biomaterials or public health or any of that, so that that adds to your GPA and that becomes like a fresh GPA that you'd be submitting to the school. So that always helps. Masuma. Next slide. And regarding CE courses and clinical experiences, this is, we're talking just by our experience. There are a lot of online options when it comes to CE courses. And now with, I think in the COVID era, that's all that we have left. So these are a few websites that we've listed that we used when we were applying. So there's Dental Care CE courses, Dental XP, and I personally used Dental XP and really liked it. Also, I think all of the other hands-on courses that you guys take, be it anything basic like a single tooth PFM preparation course or anything, always realize that nothing that you do goes to waste. So make sure you mention all of that on your CV. And in-class courses, just all of your dental conferences, be it national, international, anything that you attended, like even like an inter-school presentation or a conference that you attended, you can always mention that. Yeah, so that the point that she highlighted in the end about credit points. So you always just try to like reach out to the organization that's organizing the conference for all of your CE points. Not so much now, but it's good to have a habit to just do that because it's something you need to keep your license active in the United States once you start practicing. So it's nice to have that habit. When it comes to clinical experiences, we all have like a varied set of experiences that we have. Some of us have worked as dental assistants before we apply to school. Some of us actually go in and take like a lab technician course because maybe out of interest or to just give a boost to your CV. So you can note all of that under the clinical experiences tab on CAPID. And all of your volunteering, be it like at an NGO, be it Red Cross, be it just like you volunteer at a school to teach math or English, you can always add that to your volunteer experiences because I'm sure every school is looking for hours of volunteering and they're looking for like a holistically like groomed candidate. So it always looks nice to have all of this on your CV. Okay. So about research, at least speaking like about my experience, when I was in dental school in India, I approached a faculty in the department that I was interested in. It was the Department of Periodontics. And I approached the faculty there and I just told them about my interest in wanting to pursue a research project and if any of the postgraduate students were doing something and if I could help in any way. And that's how you can actually get into research. You have to be proactive and go and ask for opportunities in school. And you can always, even for the people who are doing preceptorships here, you can always reach out to faculty members or even the residents themselves over email. Or if they need your that's your first experience with at least research in this country. So research opportunities in California as such, now that I am part of UCLA, there are opportunities at UCLA, but that's why I'm emphasizing on, and Masuma emphasized before, on having at least some experience with the dental school before you apply, because it not only helps you get acquainted with how dentistry is performed in a foreign country, but it also opens all of these other doors, whether it be it research, whether it be volunteer opportunities. So that's another way of seeking research experience. And in terms of importance of research experience, we can't pinpoint and say that's what they're looking for. But like I mentioned earlier, what they're looking for is just a candidate, like they're viewing you in a very holistic manner, and they want to see someone who has varied interests and who has done their all, given their all and done their bit. So definitely teaches you a different perspective of dentistry, because we're usually dealing with the clinical aspect of dentistry. So it gives you a little insight into maybe the material aspect of dentistry, and it always helps. So definitely I would recommend it, but it's up to you and your limitations, but definitely I would recommend it. Next slide, please. And so we're just going to address some common questions that we have noticed applicants usually have. So one is, I am a fresh graduate, do I have a chance? I cannot emphasize enough, but definitely you have a chance, and don't be disheartened before you even try. And just please like have faith in the process and belief in the pursuit, and I'm sure it'll work out someday. So please, yes, yes, and yes. Next question. Visa related questions. So one question that we get is, do non-green card holders and non-citizens get admission? I want to say yes, but I also want to specify that there are some schools who very blatantly on their page say that they prefer citizens or green card holders. So if that's your limitation, I'd be like, okay, don't waste your money on that school. But there are so many other schools that you can apply to who are welcoming like non-green card holders. So that's not the only criteria they're looking at. So please don't be deterred. Does UCLA prefer citizens or visa applicants? All I can say is our class of 20 PPID students is extremely, extremely diverse. We have citizens, we have green card holders, we have students on an F1 visa like myself. So UCLA doesn't go ahead and apply. It's a very good school. Next slide, please. I came to the US on a tourist visa and started a vocational course on an. Yes, you are. Validity of the F1, depending on that. Say it's a 3-year validity and you still have 2 years on your form, which is called the transfer form that you fill out, and your visa automatically join. So there's no change in visa as such, as long as it's a valid F1 visa. Regarding money matters, like for the whole process, yes, it's an expensive process. Yes, it requires commitment, not only from a hard work point of view, but also from it's a financial commitment. So I'm not going to go into details about this because I believe this presentation is recorded and you can always like see the slide later. But this is like a rough estimate to how much you would spend on like one cycle. Your NBDE, ECE, TOEFL, right from like all of the exams till you get into school, and then you have school, which is you have tuition fee, which is another $200,000 to $400,000 depending on which school you get into. So just be prepared from a financial point of view. And since we're pre-dental advocates at UCLA, I want to specify that UCLA is one of the cheaper of the schools in the United States and is a very good school. So the pros and cons kind of balance themselves out. So please. Yeah. So just in general tips when it comes to applications, avoid long unexplained gap periods. What we mean is if you're somebody a while ago, I'm hoping everyone who graduated from dental school a while ago is doing something that's related to dentistry, be it working, be it serving in the military. Just because it's easier when you're applying for, if your interviewer, say, for example, 2013 until 2021. So as long as you can explain what you did and prove to the interviewing team that you've been working hard to like get to where you are today, that's okay. And show every aspect of yourself in the proper amount. So this goes back to my point on show yourself to be a candidate that's holistically groomed. You're not somebody who's just nerding it up, but you're also somebody who has your own interests, your own research experience, like just overall. So that's very important. And make your application interesting for the sole reason that the interviewing committee is reviewing thousands of applications every year, and you want to leave behind a lasting image of yourself because they want to get to know you better. Like after reading your statement, seems interesting, I would want to meet with this person and get to know him better. So everything is on paper. You may be an interesting person to speak to, but to be able to reflect that on paper is super important because that's your only way of communication with the interviewing committee at this point. Present in your application how you developed in what dental experiences you've gathered over your time before application. So that's all you're going to, and that's essentially 90% of your application, but remember the other 3 points are super important as well. And we are often asked what qualities are they looking for in a prospective like an applicant. So they're generally looking for like these basic qualities. They want to see you to be a confident person, someone who's really passionate about dentistry and wanting to pursue this specialty in the United States. They want to see that you're someone who works with integrity, you're ethical in your approach to dentistry, you have a sense of like social responsibility towards your patients, you're somebody who's open, and of course special talents, because the cherry on top of the cake is always important to just keep things interesting. So yes, it's just special talents. And I'm sure all of you guys possess most of these things. This is an important but sensitive topic to be discussed. It's weighing confidence and arrogance. So we're all dentists from our own country, obviously with different set of experiences and different amounts of experience. But when you're interviewing, it's very important to appear confident of everything that you're saying, but not arrogant of your set of experiences, because they also want to see that the student that they're taking in is someone who is teachable, not someone who's going to contradict everything that the faculty is saying. So it's extremely important to sort of exude that confidence, but at the same time, not be arrogant. And the only way you can do that is have mock interviews with people, with your friends, family, colleagues, and tell them that this is what I don't want to appear as, so let me know. So that's one way to just count, like you and work on this aspect of the interviewing. And yeah, be the best version of yourself. That's very, very important. And always remember that they're comparing you with you, and they're not comparing you with somebody with a different set of experiences or different amount of experience. So fresh graduates, don't be deterred. And people with a lot of experience, be confident because you have all of that experience, but at the same time, don't be arrogant and be the best version of yourself. And strong points are all of the things that we basically spoke about, just hands-on courses. Obviously, hands-on over an online course would be preferable, but I understand in the COVID era that is a little difficult, but I'm sure you guys have like past experience with hands-on courses. So try to emphasize that. And the way you emphasize that is in your CV, you can just probably highlight it or put it in bold. So that obviously stuff that is done in the country you're applying to would be preferred than stuff you've done back home. Just tells the interviewing committee that you're experienced with how dentistry is sort of performed in this country. You know how what the materials that they use, the techniques that they use. So that helps. And I don't know what is matters over courses.
It's masters.
Okay, so masters over courses, yeah, definitely. So I read a question in the chat box about someone having done a master's but online because of COVID. you have a master's and somebody else doesn't. So please don't like be constantly like doubting yourself. Everything that you're doing is going to help. So definitely a master, especially for someone with a low GPA, a master's would definitely help with your GPA, like building instead of courses that you've done. Next. What's that? Okay, so this is on your CAPID portal. There's a separate section to speak about your research experience. So as part of your experiences, you have your dental experiences, which will be all of your clinical or like non-clinical experiences, employment for those who worked as dentists or worked as assistants, lab technicians, or shadowed. The internship thing looks new, but yeah, that's for schools that have a mandatory like 5th year of dental school, which is the internship. And research is where you have the opportunity to elaborate on what your topic was, and they give you about, I think, how many, like, I think a few words, I think 50 to 70 words to just elaborate on what the research was and what your role in the research was. Teaching, okay, that's fine. That's fine. This is just a teaching experience is extra. I think into awards, publications, and presentations. Please don't go ahead and put something that you did back in like 5th grade. So don't put that, but definitely awards that you've received through your dental school or after, presentations being everything, all the papers that you, or posters that you present is your research work that you managed to publish by the end of whenever dental school or before applying. Okay, so other relevant information is where you speak about, like Masuma told you guys, everything that into the categorized format that CAPID provides you with. You can put it in that you've done under the tabs that CAPID has provided. What you can do is try a panel's attention to something that you're proud of or something that you want them to sort of not miss on your profile. So I would include that here. And if you leave it blank, it's perfectly fine. It's not going to be viewed like negatively. This is basically how you go about maneuvering the CAPID website. So under the Add Program tab, you'll be searching the program that you wish to apply to and just hit the plus sign, and that then gets added to your portal. And say you're applying to the Boston University for their DMD Advanced Planning Program. Once you add this to your portal, you'll have supplemental questions or documents that Boston University specifically requires you to fill out. So please be mindful of the fact that just adding this to your portal doesn't mean that everything's complete. You have to go into their individual tab and fill out everything as well. And then finally, the good day is here. You get an interview call, you're super excited. So congratulations for that. And you just discuss, so on the day of the interview, it's very conversational. And I think all of us as students stress more than we need to for this interview day. But it's basically a discussion with the panel just about yourself, all the lives up to what you presented yourself to be on paper. And that's all that they're wanting to see. Honest, be candid, and that you're talking about. And this is your chance. So getting here is what's difficult because everything's on paper. But once you've gotten here, you literally just have to be yourself and sell yourself in the panel's attention to. Try to control the conversation in a way that you lead them onto the next question that you want them to ask you. So it gives you an opportunity to talk about your next strength. So again, the way you can do that is by having mock interviews with your friends and family or with seniors who've been through this process, any interview process. That helps a lot. And yeah, lastly, be yourself. You've been called to that interview because they've seen you be something. So be proud of what you are and just be yourself. And usually after the interview, most schools also have a bench test, which is basically a skills assessment test. For UCLA, in our year, we had to prepare a PFM preparation on it was a class 2 on the molar and a maxillary anterior crown preparation, PFM crown. So that's something that you can practice either yourself, or there are a lot of courses that people take. One very popular course is the Stevenson's course, which is in California. So you can find out, but there are a lot of courses that prepare you for this. And schools usually, when sending out their interview and details about the bench test, also send in details of what they expect from you on the day of the skills test. So as long as you follow those set of rules and whatever some other schools also have, you do a wax up, temporize your crown, and it could be an onlay, inlay. But for UCLA specifically, it was a class 2 and a crown preparation, at least in our year. Next slide, please. Oh, that's all, folks. And good luck. And we'll open the chat for questions now in case we didn't cover any of the questions that you have. And all the best.
All right. Elizabeth, you want to share the questions with all of us?
Did you want me to read them out loud for you guys?
Yeah, I cannot see the questions actually because I'm sharing the screen.
Okay. The first one is, how can we apply for fellowships and preceptorships?
Fellowship, Urvashi can answer that, and then I'll move on to preceptorship.
Yeah, sounds good.
So fellowship, and choose what fellowship you want from all university websites, and usually are very thorough with their application process as well. So you just need to visit the website for the specific university, narrow down on the fellowship. I think it's like the CAPID application. It's not a portal, but it's a paper application thing. And there usually is an interview as well for at least the fellowship that I applied to. They interview several candidates and then you make it. But preceptorship, Masuma can elaborate on.
Preceptorship, again, it's the same kind of thing. You go to a school's website. In my case, I was very much interested in UCLA, and I had heard about it from the past candidates. So again, it was the same thing, LOR. I also had to write a personal statement for it, and that I had to fill out and just send it in with the application fee. There was no interview, and then at first I was waitlisted, and then I got into the program. So that was very straightforward. Next question.
There's a question on, I wonder how you would evaluate your candidates. How is low GPA going to affect someone's chance? I think we addressed that in the presentation. Can you update your CV even after submitting it?
Especially for UCLA, I remember I used to send in the way you update your CAPID and your supplemental application. I remember for UCLA, I sent in my supplemental application 4 times before the deadline with additional letters of recommendation, additional experiences that I was getting. So you just have to send in an email to update it. That's all.
And opinions in a local magazine count in the CV?
I think so. It should, right? I'm not
every bit of work that we do, guys, counts. So please mention it.
Don't skip anything thinking, oh no, I don't think it's important. Don't think that. You're very important.
like just generalized. I'm going to skip some questions because there's a general answer to them. Everyone's asking me, does this help? Does that help? Again, everything that you guys do helps. So please put it on your CV. Importance of 1 year advanced clinical training versus masters in 1 year.
Two very different things, two very different categories of things. So it's not like I will not go ahead and say do masters and don't do advanced clinical training, or do advanced clinical training and don't do masters. So they're two very different things. One is giving you purely clinical training, and the other one is giving you a degree, which is going to help you if you have a low GPA, or to make you um, like get ahead of someone who has only one degree, which is BDS. So it's like comparing oranges to apples. So I wouldn't say one is important, one is not. So they're both very good programs. It just depends on what you want to do. Don't do things
Okay.
just to put in your CV, please.
Mhm. Okay. As I'm still in India and applying to schools from here, what can I do to enhance my profile as I don't have too much of a US experience? How different is the interview and admissions testing process this year?
Mm.
So, to be honest, we don't really know because we interviewed 2 years ago, but based on what we've heard from friends, is everything's virtual this
Mhm.
year. And I know of a few schools that have figured out a way to conduct the skills assessment test virtually as well. So please practice and don't get complacent that you won't have a bench test. And that's all that we know, to be honest, for this
For
year.
California schools, Loma Linda did conduct their bench exam this year with scattered schedules. So like they didn't put all 80 of you in one room this time. They scattered like 20 people in the morning, then afternoon, then evening. UOP is not doing exam at all. They substituted the bench exam with a written exam. So no one knows what that written exam is going to be like, because of course it's the first time. Um, so that's
Okay. What should we include in the extracurricular section in the experiences tab?
sports that you play, if you bake, if you have won any competitions. No, seriously, I talked about my baking in my interview.
By extracurricular, guys, I literally mean
Yes,
extracurricular dance, drama, music,
oh,
hobbies. So they just want to know you and your interests outside of dentistry. How important is it to apply early?
very.
Very important. I don't think we can emphasize enough on this. If possible, shoot in your applications the day that CAPIT opens. Um, some schools may say that they're not working on a rolling application basis, but if the faculty or the committee reviews your application and sees that you've applied early, they see a dedicated candidate, they see someone who's organized, they see someone who's really wanting to do this for a while and has everything in place. So it's not just for the application, but it also speaks about you as a candidate. So for that reason, applying early helps.
Any uncertain things that might pop up once you finish your CAPIT and supplemental application. So you need time for that as well. So it's always a good idea to prepare.
Hi, what does a PPID student learn during their first student? Masuma.
So we get longer than a summer quarter. Summer quarter usually 2 months, but for I've integrated every single preclinical course from D1 and D2 year into 4 months. It's an accelerated program. They expect you to unlearn whatever that you've learned from before and relearn what they are teaching you in UCLA methods. They expect all the deadlines to, it's a very good way of getting yourself back into that school mode, because so many of us are like applying for 2 3 years we're not used to of that, following a schedule, getting into practice, getting used to of the handpiece again. So once boot camp ends, you start clinic, which is very exciting. So try and learn and refresh all of your skills in pre-clinic, so you're all set and ready to start actual clinic.
Okay, next question is individual. So are individual scores in TOEFL important, or is an aggregate, like an overall aggregate of 100 plus, all right? So certain schools have requirements, and UCLA is one of them. Masuma, if I'm not wrong, it's the speaking, right? That they need, or is it not the speaking, or is it the rest? All of them?
All of them. They have a specific guide, even on their website, and it was mentioned in the slides. They have categories, and they have criteria of meeting that specific score in each category of your TOEFL exam. So it's not.
So yeah, overall score definitely, if you have a good score, works. But make sure that you go through every university's requirements in detail, because you don't want to be wasting your dollars over an application that's not going to be considered at all.
I have seen people retaking their TOEFL exam because they didn't meet one of the criteria of their scores.
Yeah. Do they accept fresh graduates? We spoke about that. Does the dental license from your home country have to be renewed before submitting it to the CAPID application? No, they're going to be seeing like thousands of applications. I don't think that, but it's nice to keep it renewed. When would they start sending invites, and how different the address are? Did you have a written exam? If yes, what was the format? Is this for the interview day?
Yeah, we had the written exam, remember?
No, I'm like, I don't know if she meant on the day of the interview, but yeah, on the day of the interview, we did have a written exam. Every school has their own format, but yeah, we had a clinical skills assessment, and we did have like an MCQ type of exam.
It's just also like the testlets that you get in your dental dex preparatory.
It's like NBDE too.
Yeah.
Similar. It's a blend.
Yeah.
It's a blend of NBD part 1 and part 2, but I don't think you need to specifically study for it. It's general questions on dentistry. If someone is a DA clinical instructor, that person still needs assisting experience. I'm sorry. Can you I don't mind if you unmute yourself and elaborate, because I didn't get your question, Shirisha.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the information. It was so nice and it was very informative. Yeah, I'm a dental instructor. I'm an instructor in a dental assistant school.
US?
So, yes, in US. What my question is, will that count, or dental assisting experience counts? Working as a dental assistant counts, or working as a DA instructor counts?
So I think as an instructor, you could put that under your teaching experience on CAPID. But if you actually assisted, you could put that as a dental assisting experience.
Yeah.
You need to have dental experience. It's a very good thing that you're a dental assisting instructor, which is even better than being a dental assistant yourself. So it's just that it's necessary to be a dental assistant before getting into the program.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Cool.
No problem. I hope we helped you guys at least a little bit, and hope we tried to ease your tensions. I know this year is specifically stressful for everyone that's applying, new and different, but hang in there, guys. It'll work out when it has to. Like I said, belief in the pursuit, and it'll work out.
Shweta, can you ask your question, because I don't know how to go back to the question. You can unmute yourself and ask.
Hello, good evening.
Hi.
You were referring to me, right? I just unmuted myself. I didn't hear who you gave the word to.
It was Shweta Wani, but you can go ahead and ask a question. That's fine.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, first of all, thank you, ladies, for hosting tonight's session. Congratulations on getting into the program and all success in the remaining. I'm glad you guys the curriculum, the resume, because actually, no, I'm sorry, the personal statement. I guess formulating it, and then I felt like I talked a lot, and then I had to reduce it into just the space that's required. So I just wanted to hear you guys, your guys' opinion. I basically added challenges at school that helped me in my personal growth, areas in dentistry that I'm here in the U.S. By reading it, of my personality, you can kind of like read it in between the lines. The format, well, it's like in chronological order, so I feel it does kind of feel like a curriculum, like a resume, because I mentioned, like my experience order. So I don't know if that's wrong.
It's just that they already have your resume. They do not want to spend their time reading in a form of, and if you know what I mean. Like they know your CV, whatever that you've done. But putting it in chronological order in your personal statement where you are talking about got into dentistry, what's keeping you motivated to stay in dentistry, what do you want out of the program, that's perfectly fine. For example, I got into dental school in 2015, and I my internship year in 2016 was perfect, and I learned this and I learned that. No, you're putting that on your CV. You can talk about your characteristics, and then maybe give an example of the time you saw a patient and then how you dealt with that patient, which will highlight that characteristic that you have, that you've been talking about. Something like that.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. And then also, I know you guys, I mean, this is my first time.
Hi, this is Shweta. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, you good.
No, it's okay. I thought you were done, but go ahead. I'll wait for you.
Oh, no, I just wanted to give you guys, I wanted to share a page. I'm going to send it right now on the chat. This is on Instagram. It's called Dentistry with Smitty. I know that this, myself, I had kind of, with everything on CAPID, filling out the application, there's so many areas, and, it can be confusing as to like what you need to add. This page on Instagram is very informative. If you just follow it, all your questions will be answered. So it's really good.
Thank you. So Shweta, I read your question. You asked about the interview process this year.
Yes. Yeah, I just wanted to get a little idea, and if there is something that we should prepare for, do something while we're waiting.
Sure. So we do not know as of right now how it's going to be in UCLA. We haven't heard anything, but as I told you, you can get a little bit of idea from UOP and Loma Linda, since they're all California schools. Both of them had different things. UOP had a written exam in place of bench, and interview is going to be virtual no matter what. It's going to be on Zoom, so that's not a problem. The problem would be a bench exam. Yolanda, can you please? It's like I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I hope that made sense, Shweta.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
We have 2 more questions, and I think we're on time now. Could you please tell us a little bit about when you are having since COVID came? Is it online or in person? So all the in-person classes, we are having that on Zoom, but of course we're going to clinic in capacity. distancing, but now we're going back to school and seeing our patients. If you are interested in specialty, do you get equal patient exposure as the American? Yeah, you're integrated into the same class, so there is no discrimination between you and a traditional DDS student. If I mention I'm leaning towards a particular specialty, is that bad? Not at all. You go ahead, express whatever that you're interested in. Loma Linda did have an on-campus exam, but they didn't have a case discussion test. Yes, they did not. Do PPID students have any leadership opportunities during their course? Can you share any personal experience? We are sharing our very personal experience right here. Urvashi and I were the chairs for Advanced Standing Committee Chair for ASDA. I was myself part of a lot of clubs and committee chair for videography for ASDA last year. I was the photographer for ASB last year. So yeah, it's all equal chance for everybody.
And as the pre-dental is also part of one, like Elizabeth is one of the co-chairs for as the pre-dental. So yes, there are a lot of leadership opportunities here.
Any ideas as to how many seats they have this year? 20. Just like us. All right, so I think we're done here. Is Elizabeth still with us?
I am, yeah.
Right.
Is that all the questions?
Okay, so the last one.
Okay, last one.
I want to apply for pain management online course from UCLA, but I'm afraid that may lead to lose my PPID. Why would it lead to lose your PPID? I don't understand the question.
You can unmute yourself and ask it in person or out loud.
Yeah, hi, Sirisha here again. Like if I'm applying two different in the same school, will that impact? That is my question. Like pain management is also from UCLA, and this PPID, like International Dentistry Program, is also from the UCLA, right?
So pain management online course will be a continuing education course, whereas PPID is a DDS program.
No, it's pain management is a master's program which is 3 years. Online 3 years. Yes. Or official pen. Yes.
Then yes.
Yes. Yes.
So it do an online master's program. How are you gonna do a DDS program?
Yeah, that's whatever my like. Okay, thank you.
Okay, to respect Masuma and Urvashi's time, I'm going to cut it off here. But thank you everyone for joining us. And don't worry if you came in a little bit late because this was recorded and we'll be posting it on our YouTube channel. So thank you everyone. I'm going to end the meeting now.
Bye.
See you guys.